For the purposes of this vid, I will be going through each one of the available sockets and explaining what I am using and why I am using it. In other videos I just presented the entire picture, going through a brief explanation, but I'm gonna go in depth with every single part as well as the paint job. I'll go through my paint job so you can see what I placed and where. This will make it easier for people who are not playing on PlayStation to follow the guide. Also, later on in the video, I'm gonna give you the code for the entire build. Let's get to it. For our primary weapon here, we are using a Zimmerman, and we're using a Zimmerman because it is a very effective weapon. You don't have to use this. Voltron mainly fights in melee, so we will be using a sword, but in case you want to have a functional AC, you can use a Zimmerman or whatever kind of firearm you choose. It's up to you. Just make sure you do not go overload or over your EN load. Our base weapon, of course, is the Moonlight. Both the aesthetics and the effects match the show. The newer show a bit more than the traditional show, but it is what it is. We can only go so far with the details. It is a very competent melee weapon that has insane range for its class, and I highly recommend it in general. It is really good. For our back, I went with dual songbirds, mainly because I wanted to replicate the wings effect that Voltron has. You can't really put wings on the AC, and some of the bulkier torsos kind of make it inoperable with this kind of EN load. I wanted to keep it nimble as is thematic, so I used twin songbirds. Though on everything else, it's one of the top tier shoulder weapons, so there's no harm in using them. For our head, I went with the Alba because it closely resembles a crown, and Voltron is kind of wearing a crown. That's the design of the mech. There is no face that looks like a humanoid in AC, and I think that's for the better. Humanoid faces on mecha in general is a very 80s to 90s deal, and I never was fond of it. I like the mech to look like a mech. So Alba it is, looks good. I tried to place the color palette on it to resemble the lion's head that is above Voltron's face. I think it did a pretty good job, but you will be the judge of it. For our core, we're using the Melander C3. We wanted to have a black frame with red detail, and this fitted the build. It's also a very competent core piece, so it was a no-brainer, really, one of the easier picks of the build. Now our hands are the Hull series. We're gonna paint them individually. The right one will be red and the left one will be green. I will go into detail on how it was painted, of course, but it is a good pair of hands. If you check the stats, you see that both firearm specialization and melee specialization are quite good, so they're gonna serve you well both with the firearms and the melee attacks. For our legs, we're using the Melander LG-011 series. Voltron traditionally sported bulky legs. The newer anime kinda brings more curves and rounds to the mix, but I want to go after the OG design. Looks really good. Too bad we cannot individually paint them, so I could have the yellow and the blue lion individually, but it's fine. I put both blue and yellow on the mix here, alongside the white, of course, that is the core of the build. I am using the Gil's booster because I want it to be as mobile as possible. Gil has the shortest QB reload time of any booster, and I highly recommend it for most builds that are based around mobility. For our FCS, I'm using the Talbot FC008. I'm using this because it's excellent for close range and medium range, the distances that we will be fighting in. Our generator is the DFGN08 Santai. It's very good all around and can just support our energy needs without hindering EN recharge delay or QB reload time. Is a very good piece. And I'm also using Assault Armor because although I understand the merits of terminal armor, you want to be a bit more aggressive with a fast moving AC. Assault armor gives you a lot of tactical opportunities if you leverage it the right moment. So here is our paint job. I'm going to show you each individual window so you can replicate what I have. Don't worry too much about saturations and that kind of thing, because something I deemed ideal for this application might not be ideal for you. So just grab the gist and go and experiment and get the best possible colors for yourself. For weapons, it's kinda easier and not set in stone. What I really suggest is you utilize this scheme on the songbirds. They're exactly the same. I go for like an alabaster look with the moonlight. And then of course the Zimmerman is whatever, because it's not even lore accurate, you just need a firearm, paint it however you like. For the emblem there on the crotch, I'm using this chimera looking thing that is pretty much available to everyone from one point onward. What you want to do is go to decals, go to legs and then custom decals, grab this one and then apply it at the location that you want. On the right you can see my placement, the exact coordinates, so if you want to have this the exact same way I have it, take a screenshot of that and adjust it accordingly. So this is it, people. Voltron, Defender of the Universe in AC6. I've had some messages from people in my previous guide saying that you could get a decal and stretch it and make this kind of thing or that kind of thing. Dude, you can make Voltron's face in decals and slap it on Snail's head and you will have the exact same face as Voltron. But for me, what's alluring about all this AC mech design is to take the mech parts that we have and mix and match them and paint them in a way that it resembles the source material, because if we start drawing on the mech parts, we kinda miss the whole point of having the best possible parts in the first place. Hope you found this useful and interesting. I will be linking 2 of my other builds, a Gundam and a recreation of EVA Unit 1 from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Sub, like, hit the bell for more content like this. If you want to support the channel, you can visit Patreon, the Buy Me a Coffee platform, or get a membership. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers.